Oh, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, boy. How are you? I need a drink, and of course this is iced tea. Oh, we are back for another episode. This is Pickup Lines presented by Gamez Law Firm, and as is the case, typically we give you a couple of minutes to come on and share this on your Facebook page if you would like. I'd love you to do that so we can spread the message here, grow our audience, and welcome in some of our viewers. Hi, Lisa. Good afternoon. Nice to have you along here. John Preston is watching. Welcome in. Pickup Lines presented by Gamez Law Firm, and we're going to give our guest a little time to make their way here. I'll lay out kind of some of the drama leading up to this here because, boy, if you were here 5 minutes ago, I was sweating bullets, but we'll explain why in just a little bit. So, at any rate, hi, Gina. My day is going great, and this is one of the highlights for sure. Pickup Lines. Hi, Tammy Tovar. I've been very blessed, as you might have seen on my social media. I've been trying to obviously build this program, grow Pickup Lines. Springfield, Illinois, in the house, where I hope it's cooler than it is here, because it's 100 and my car says 100. That's got to be a lie right now, because the car says it's 100. But hi, Norma. I've been trying to grow this and build the audience, obviously generate a little income since I left Morning News. And so I'm thrilled and honored and humbled to have Gamez Law Firm on board as my presenting sponsor. And I've got a few other, hopefully, leads on people who want to come on and just, they like what we're doing here. They support it, and I can give their business a little love. So it's a win-win, and it just allows me to do, like I said, find the camera, find the microphone, visit with you guys, and continue doing Pickup Lines. Some of you may not be aware, I've been doing Pickup Lines for more than 5 years. And hi, Brandy Mills. In the beginning, it used to be just myself. Hi, tell your son Sebastian hello, Mel. It used to be myself, then my wife Tammy would join me. And it just has grown and grown and grown. We've gotten a lot of nice, supportive things from people over the years. And so I'm thrilled to be back with you again. All right, so didn't tell you this week who my guest was. And I'm waiting for this person to show up. They're literally coming from somewhere else right now. So I'll give you a clue. I've come to them, and so I'm downtown right now. I'm in downtown San Antonio at an undisclosed location. It'll make more sense when you see who I'm talking about. But so we're going to talk here for a few minutes until our guest arrives. But again, just want to give love to Joe Gamez, Carmen Gamez, their entire family, that law firm celebrating 50 years in 2023. Now they launched their firm in 1973. And so obviously you don't necessarily always prepare to have a legal issue, or maybe you don't wake up every day thinking you need an attorney, but it sure is nice to have one that knows their way around a courtroom and has been doing it for so long. So please remember, Gamez Law fights, as we like to say. And then just yesterday, I was able to get on another sponsor here. And so again, we're waiting for our guest to show up. Texas Grounds Coffee in Helotes is, I was dragging yesterday. I went by, hi Lori Zapata, good afternoon. I went by, I was dragging, and it was 1,000 degrees outside, and I said, you know what, just give me something cool and caffeinated. And they whipped up a vanilla latte for me. I've known Jennifer Howard and Phil Santillanes for a little while. Hi, Manuel, Guadalupe Lumber Company. I've known them for a while, great people. Phil served in the military, so anything to support military, obviously, especially in San Antonio, I'm all over that. Jennifer was a teacher for a number of years and left that to brew coffee, roast coffee beans, make cream puffs and everything. And so they've come on board as a sponsor, and they have, believe it or not, this is pretty cool. They have a promo code. If you go to Texas Grounds Coffee in Helotes and you drop the promo code is pickup 23, for Pickup Lines, pickup and the number 23. they will hook you up there at Texas Grounds. And so I'm told that this is their most popular brand here. This is the Republic Blend. Phil roasted these beans himself, so they're very popular. But I do want to thank Texas Grounds for coming on board. It just means a lot. It helps me, obviously, to support my family and to continue doing this. It really means a lot. So, all right. So we're waiting for our guest who's on their way. I'm going to give you another clue now. I told you I'm downtown. This will probably give it away. But this is something that was given to me right before I left the morning show back in May. And it is easily one of my prized possessions. To be clear, I've never been a captain in the San Antonio Fire Department. But our guest, who is on his way here, gave this to me as a gift. I will always cherish this. And the relationships that I've made with people in the fire department, just good people who obviously are, doing amazing things every single day and night, a lot of times while we're asleep and everything. So this is your other clue for who my guest is for Pickup Lines today. And I'm told that he is on his way from, he was downtown, and will be joining us here momentarily. So while we have a few minutes together, again, just asking everybody to share this on their Facebook and help grow the audience, and hopefully more people can see what we're doing. We had a great conversation last week with Monica Taylor, and so many of you, myself included, waited a long time for that conversation, because Monica is one of those people where we've tried to connect over the years, and it just, we have our lives and we have our kids and we have things going on, and we just couldn't make it happen, and this and that, and life happens and things go on. And finally, at long last, we got together, and she did Pickup Lines last week, and so many of you watched that show, if not live, then watched it recorded and everything. And so that just meant a lot, that there was such an outpouring of support and everything. So yeah, hold on a second. I got you. I'm on right now, but I'll see you in a few. Okay, so he's here, and it's very exciting. So yeah, I'll spill the tea now. Fire Chief Charles Hood is my guest today, and he is just he's just one of those people that I got to know over the years doing the morning news. Obviously, had him on the show many times, and just loved everything about him. And so yes, he gave me, I didn't even show you the back of this. He gave me this. This is an authentic fire helmet, SAFD fire helmet, and on the back he even had it monogrammed, or I guess my initials were put on it, EZ. And like I said, I will cherish this for a very long time. It meant a lot. I have friends who are firefighters. Obviously, if you were following the news yesterday, you saw, or you may have seen, that there was a tough day for the fire department yesterday, because they had the sentencing of the man who was convicted of setting that fire at the Ingram Park, the Ingram Strip Center complex back in 2017, where Scott Deem, the firefighter, passed away. And Chief was there yesterday in the courtroom, and I know it was a very emotional day for him. And so it's been an emotional week for him. As a matter of fact, believe it or not, we were supposed to do this yesterday. I was supposed to be here yesterday, but obviously he was called into the courtroom, and needless to say, he needed to be there and do that. So I'm looking forward to our conversation. If you're new to Pickup Lines, or you're not familiar with the concept, it's totally unscripted. The Chief and I have not spoken about anything in terms of what we're going to talk about. It's just a very spontaneous conversation that just kind of can go in any direction. You never really know what's going to happen. And so we haven't spoken since he was one of my last guests on the morning show back in May, when I was on the air, and we have not spoken since then, I don't think. So he drove by just a moment ago, and he will be joining us here momentarily. So at any rate, if any of you have any questions or anything that you want to shoot at me right now, or something you might want to know from the Chief that we can ask him when he gets here, that would be great. But hopefully you guys are surviving the heat and everything. It's just a terrible. I mean, it's just unbelievable what's happening outside right now. And I mean, I've lived in Texas my entire life, South Texas my entire life, except for 2 years when I lived in, believe it or not, Arizona. Maybe one of the only other places where it's as hot or hotter. And of course, as they like to say in Arizona, it's a dry heat. So yes, it is a dry heat, and you don't maybe sweat as much, in Phoenix when I lived in Phoenix. But let's just be honest. I mean, 100 degrees, 110 is 110, right? So it's 110. But at any rate, so I do have the AC running in the car. I have bottled water here for the chief too to give him. But so if you're just joining us, Fire Chief Charles Hood is going to join me momentarily. I'm just looking over here. He gave me the nod a moment ago, so he'll be coming on here momentarily. Again, if you guys could share this on your Facebook page, that would mean a lot. That way we can grow this audience and just kind of let people see what we're doing. So yes, Tammy's on right now, and she said, if you might notice a different ambiance here. Normally, when I do pickup lines, it's in my car. Okay, so I drive a black, like a Toyota Camry. That's obviously, it's got a black interior. So if you were watching last week, I was in the Toyota Camry. As I was getting ready for this show yesterday, somebody brought up the point. They were like, Chief Hood is a tall guy. He's a taller. I need to double check. I think he goes like 6'4". I got to double check. 6'2", 6'4". I was like, I should take my wife's car. She's got an SUV, and I think the Chief hopefully would be more comfortable. Tammy wants me to Swiffer the car. Well, I don't have the Swiffer here. See, I have a Swiffer in my car. Yes, wouldn't it be? I just need a car sponsor. That's what I need, right? A car that can just lend me a car that's roomy for guests of any size, and then I can come in and interview whoever. So, Eric J. Pollard, hey Catherine, I'm seeing you guys come on here. We're standing by for Fire Chief Charles Hood to join us here in just a few minutes on Pickup Lines, presented by Gamez Law Firm. And yes, again, I'm thrilled to have Gamez Law Firm on board as a presenting sponsor. I've gotten to know that family. A lot of you may not realize. You see the commercials, right? Gamez Law Fights, and you know that moniker or that motto. But as I've gotten to learn more about that family and realizing he went to Lanier, years ago, and has given back money to SAISD, to Lanier High School, and then their daughter Natalie Gamez just recently served as La Reina Linda for Fiesta, for the Ray Feo Court, Ray Feo 74, for Fiesta 2023. That we just completed. Her reign technically still continues, I think, till the end of the year, but just got to know Natalie and her family, and it's like the more you find out about them, the more impressed you are. And so I'm just really humbled. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, here he is. It is safe to enter. Come on in. We are on live right now on Pickup Lines. Do I need to scoot the seat back?
I'm good.
Okay.
I thought stalkers drove around in white vans.
Well, so I'm in a white SUV with the sun visor up, a ring light in here.
Okay.
Who's this mystery man parked in front of public safety headquarters?
Dude, you get pulled over for snap. I think they got surveillance and cameras on us in here. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Hot.
Thanks for doing this. I was telling. Well, here, I got the air on. Let me give you some air.
Good.
And I got water for you right there.
And I'm gonna move my seat back.
It's on this. Yeah, I was just telling everybody. They suggested.
Ernie has a nice car, just so you know.
Well, but I was going to come in my little Toyota Camry.
Okay.
And you would have not. Yeah.
Not at all.
6'4"? How tall are you?
6'4". Thank you, brother.
So I was showing off this that you gave me this. You were one of my last guests on the morning show, and you gave me this, and I have put it in a prominent place in my home. My wife was like, "You got to bring this today when you talk to the
It was
chief."
An honor to give that to you.
It was an honor to receive it.
All right, cool.
thanks for doing this. I know you've been running around, and I mean, I think it's safe to say that you're coming off a day yesterday that was really heavy.
Yeah, it was a challenging day. I felt like a burden had been lifted from me, like a burden that had been weighing on me for 6 years, because I absolutely I hated this guy.
Let me tell our viewers, just by the way, I was explaining because yesterday you were in court for the sentencing of the man who was convicted of setting the fire that ultimately killed Scott Deem in 2017. Before I went off the air in May, you were on our show, and we talked about the closure, that the legal process. It had taken so long to get to yesterday.
Yes.
And if not for what happened yesterday, we would have been doing this yesterday. But I watched on the news and everything, and I just can't imagine, because when you go to the academy, you are trained to fight fires, and you're trained to do every possible conceivable thing with a fire.
Right.
But there's no training for standing in a courtroom looking at a convicted arsonist who killed one of your firefighters.
Right? I've done budget presentations, testified at Capitol Hill, done all kind of speaking engagements, but never once have I stood 10 feet away from a man that murdered one of my firefighters. I had experienced it when we did the bond hearing, and I sat there and looked at the side of his head thinking all these ill thoughts. And but yesterday when I got up there in front of him, he looked at me, and as contrite as you could feel a person could be, I felt that from him. And I had two different conversations I was going to have with him, and one would have been if he never looked at me, if he didn't appreciate this moment or respect us for being there. And I've seen that in other victim impact statements where the killer or whatever, they'd look down, they wouldn't look. This guy stood there and he took it from everybody that came up there, and he looked at them. And so it allowed me to, okay, I'm going to forgive this guy. I can't forget it,
Right.
but I'm going to forgive him. And Ernie, I forgave him for myself, because again, I was so angry and all of these things. And so when I took off on this off-ramp yesterday to leave work, I felt like I'd been in surgery. I felt like something had been lifted from me. So I know that was the right thing, but very, very difficult. The closure we had was good for a lot of us, but there are other members out there that still, are really hurt and will never forget this guy. And I had to be the mouthpiece kind of for everybody, and so I had to take that into effect too.
It really is remarkable. And then I saw the stat, was it yesterday, you hadn't lost a firefighter, was it 1890s?
1891, since, there have been firefighters that have died here from a medical complication from a fire.
Right.
Our beloved Greg Garza a couple years ago was struck by a vehicle. But as far as us having someone perish, a firefighter perish in a fire, and we could not get them out, that had never happened. And it was very frustrating, because we do think this generation of firefighters is the safest firefighters that we've ever had.
Yeah.
And then for that to happen, it really stated the fact of how bad that fire was.
Well, listen, I know it's tough to talk about, and I appreciate you doing that. So now, kind of just transition away from that. I mean, now that chapter is done, and you have that, like you said, surgery, that sense of like something was lifted off of you. So now, what is your next area of focus?
Well, my areas of focus every single day is to make sure that events like we just talked about yesterday never happen.
Yeah.
And so we had to take the opportunity to really learn best practices on a situation like that, and we didn't really bring a lot of that up, but that fire caused us to again reevaluate everything we do, and then we do it in the honor of Scott.
Yeah.
Firefighters die every day. There was one that died yesterday in Memphis. There was one that died the day before, and we want to make sure that we're as safe as possible. And so I do think we are, but again, it's just something that we continue to be safe about. We're dealing with budget right now. We're dealing with a million different things, land acquisition for new fire stations. And so there's a million things on a fire chief's plate every single day. But yesterday that was the most important thing that I had to do, and I had to do it for the members, And selfishly, I had to do it for myself because I needed that purge.
Yeah.
So the next thing is always making sure that our members are safe, and then making sure that we can get out to the residents of this community in the most efficient way possible. So I'm just coming from it was like a 2.5 hour budget meeting, just trying to make sure that we have the best possible budget plan to present to the manager and the city council. So
Yeah.
every day, brother, is something.
I hear you. Listen, well, and people hear budget and they're like, oh, boring. But in reality, I mean, it's not that it's a sexy topic by any means. But these are certain things. Just talking to city council members over the years, and everybody's fighting for their constituency, if you will.
Absolutely.
So talking budget, then, what would be like a list of priorities that you really need some funds for?
We always, I tell people my hands are shaped like cups. And I'm always making requests. And I'm going to have a long line of requests that we make every single year. But I've also got to compete with Parks and Rec. I've got to compete with the library. I've got to compete with my brothers in the same building.
Police.
With police. And so, there's our budget is expanding, and it's going to continue to expand because we continue to have people move into this historic community. So our asks are going to be great, and I think we'll probably get some things.
Yeah.
It's nothing that we want to really go out and say, hey, we're going to, do this or that. But we do have a new ladder company that's going to be coming on. There's got to be staffing for that, so you got to hire people. So all of those things that you do, we're a Fortune 500 company. We're a Fortune 500 company, and we're the only Fortune 500 company, as far as the fire service, we respond at a moment's notice to your house with millions of dollars worth of equipment.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to run it like a business until we get to your front door, and then that's where the compassion and all of those things come in when we take care of people. But when we're looking at numbers and equipment and stations, we have to run it like a Fortune 500 company.
Yeah.
So would I rather be out at an incident or visiting the firefighters? Yeah, but there was a bunch of us this morning that we sat down and we do our other job, which is a challenging job, but is to create the best possible budget and enhancements to make sure that we're giving everybody what they need, including the troops.
So we're sitting here visiting with San Antonio Fire Chief Charles Hood. This is Pickup Lines, presented by Gamez Law Firm. Got sponsors now, so I got to make sure and take care of that and everything.
Cool.
But let me ask you this. When's the last time you personally fought a fire?
The last time I personally fought a fire would have been with a hose, like fighting a fire like that. Oh, my God. Probably since I was a captain in the Phoenix Fire Department.
Phoenix. I was telling everybody that's 20 years ago, right?
Plus. Yeah, well, it's been 15 here, but even in Phoenix, at some point in time, you got to give up the hose. You pick up the radio, and then you start managing fires. So when you say fought a fire, I would consider the people that are standing in front of a building making the decisions, they're fighting a fire. They just don't have a hose and an axe in their hand. So
that's a great point.
If you got to have me swinging an axe or pulling a hose line, something's definitely wrong. But again, when we had the Dean fire, I was the incident commander of that. I fought that fire, not with a hose, but I fought it with strategy and tactics. So it's just different levels, but I consider I'm still a firefighter.
Do you miss that, just with the hose and going in there and that adrenaline rush?
Not necessarily. Do I miss that because I had a lot of it, but there's nothing like the adrenaline rush of being a firefighter, and you get scared and you get all of these things that you go through, which makes it exciting. And it doesn't make sense to people to say, yeah, firefighting is exciting, but it is. It's exciting. It's an adrenaline rush. So I don't miss that necessarily, but what I miss is being at the kitchen table. I miss the day-to-day 24 hours of being at the firehouse with a group of people that you really become close to over the years, and you sit there and you got the firehouse lawyers and the firehouse doctors and the firehouse marriage counselors and the firehouse plumbers and stock guys, CPAs, and you learn. And as a young kid coming in the fire department, I learned so much from those guys that I work with, and I'm still close to all of them.
Yeah.
So the relationship you build in the fire service is unlike any other, because when you leave, if you talk to an old firefighter, what do you miss? I miss hanging out at the fire station. I miss the kitchen table. That's the most important thing in the fire service. So yeah, I miss that.
I get it. I get it. There's been a couple times where my daughter bakes and stuff, and we have a couple firehouses by our house, and if we've had extra cupcakes or different things like that, we'll swing by, and it's just a cool feeling to go in there. And obviously, they're all so grateful and everything, but just you can see right away that camaraderie and everything.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt, and that's the one thing that we never want to change.
Yeah.
And as you talk about culture and the people that we hire are much more diverse than the people that were hired when I came in.
Yeah.
So those are things that you also have to take into effect when you're dealing with people, because this is not Chicago Fire. This is not a TV program.
Right.
This is real life, and you're dealing with real life people that come from diverse backgrounds and communities, and how do we all get along? And
Yeah.
it is more challenging nowadays because we have cell phones and we have the internet and we have all of these things that make it a little bit harder. But when you sit down to a meal and you sit down with people you've been running calls with all day, and you're happy to get that meal and have that conversation, there's nothing like it in the world.
Yeah. Is there such thing, if somebody's watching and could be a potential firefighter or thinking about it, is there such thing as the perfect candidate for a firefighter?
The perfect candidate is going to be somebody that wants to serve the community, that is physically fit, and that they're a good learner and a good leader. And we need all of those things, but we also we try to go out and recruit kids, and we try to capture them at a young age, and we try to get them at an impressionable stage, and then we try to make sure that they stay out of trouble.
Yeah.
So if you're getting DWIs, if you're getting arrested, if you're having some legal problems, this is probably not the career for you. So you want to make sure that when you're that person coming in, that you're going to be able to pass a background test.
Okay.
We spend about 40 hours of just background on everybody that we hire. So we look at your jobs. And for those of you who are listening, social media, be very careful of social media. Taking pictures with drinks in your hand. And my kid just got married a couple weeks ago, and my younger kids say, hey man, don't take a picture with a drink in your hand, because when they start looking at you as far as an employer, they're going to look at all of that stuff, your social media, anything that you post. So don't post a bunch of stuff that, you're going to have to worry about years down the road. And as a kid, we don't think about that. So your background is critical, because if you don't have a stellar background, it's going to be very difficult to get on.
I hear you. Okay, so there you have it. A few more minutes with Fire Chief Charles Hood here. Thank you very much for hanging with us here. This is Pickup Lines presented by Gamez Law Firm. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask. I mean, we're sitting in an air-conditioned car right now, but obviously you're at the mercy of Mother Nature. So what is it like to do your job in this oppressive heat, which does not seem to be letting up anytime soon?
It's a real challenge. And so the other night we had a second alarm fire, and it was probably 10:30, close to 11. It was still like 96 degrees, and it was humid. And the men and women that were on that call, they had been working for 10 hours, and they've been standing out on 1604, 281, or on Broadway at an automobile accident. And you get 3 or 4 of those, it takes its toll, because you're getting in and out of a truck, going into somebody's house that may not have air, or standing on an intersection or a curb dealing with the heat, and then God forbid there's a grass fire or any of those other things. So it could be grueling. So, we always talk about the fitness, and I talked about that a second ago. You have to be physically fit, because when we have these events, we don't want our folks going down. So it starts with fitness, it starts with your diet, with staying hydrated, and then monitoring your work load. So again, it takes a lot of resources when we have a big fire. So we are bringing in additional fire companies, because we have to replace.
Yeah.
You can only work X amount of time in this heat. So it's a challenge, and it's a challenge for fire departments all over the nation, because everybody's hot. Everybody's hot right now. So let's just pray today that we don't have anything significant in the middle of the day, and we've been very fortunate so far, but we will.
It's inevitable. Let's end it on a positive note here.
All right.
You doing anything fun this summer, or have you? You said you just had a child that got married?
You know what? My oldest son, Tevin, got married, and 50 of our friends, family, and stuff went to Puerto Vallarta, so that was fun.
Okay.
It was an interesting experience to see my two college kids drink at an all-inclusive. And I never saw either one of them staggered, which was scary. But that was their first all-inclusive event. So we were there for 7 days. I also went to Costa Rica in February. So right now, only thing I have fun planned is getting through budget season and getting to the fall.
Yeah.
So I think most of my fun has been over with.
Yeah.
And when you go through budget, there's at certain times of the year that you just can't be gone. So everything's been going accordingly as far as the fun, and now we're just trying to get through budget and waiting for it to cool off for football season, man. So
man. You're a Cowboys fan?
Oh, no, not at all.
What?
I'm a Raider fan. My dad was born in Oakland, California.
Vegas.
So,
no. Oakland. Okay, Oakland Raiders.
My dad was born in Oakland, so
Okay.
I am a Raider fan, and so are my kids. So you can't eat Cheerios across from somebody and not be a fan of that team. So, nah, I'm not a Cowboys
That's the
fan.
rule.
That's the rule. What about you?
Well, I mean, I grew up an Oilers fan. I grew up I grew up in Victoria, which was closer to Houston, and the Oilers went away and became the Titans.
I didn't realize Victoria because I had a bunch of family back in the day that were from Victoria.
Yeah, but then the Cowboys won Super Bowls when I was in high school,
Okay.
And they haven't won one since.
Haven't won one since, so that ought to tell you something. And same way for me, the Raiders haven't won since 1984, but we've at least been to a Super Bowl since the Cowboys have been to Super Bowl. So we have been in 2000. So Cowboy fans haven't even sniffed that.
No comment. We'll see what happens.
All right.
Listen, I know you got to get back to your day job, but this means a lot. I appreciate it. I always enjoy the visits, and like I said, this has a prominent place in my house.
Wonderful.
And you know how I feel about San Antonio Fire Department, so I appreciate you being here today.
Dude, anytime we can help you out, let us know, and good luck in your new venture.
Hey, you like my studio?
I like this, man. As long as it's not a white van, you won't get pulled over.
You'll vouch for me.
Absolutely.
Always good to see you.
Take care,
All
brother.
right, Pickup Lines presented by Gamez Law Firm, the one and only Fire Chief Charles Hood.
All right.
We'll see you next time. Have a great day.
Take care.